So I have my bigger saw out with the 24-inch bar, so I can take down this elm. Is right there. As you can see, it the towering thing, and it is a canopy over cedars, like right there. Not so much over there, but really it's starting to grow over there. It's not really much of a tree as far as any value other than firewood. I have plenty of elm. I know Dutch elm disease has wiped out a lot of them, but I do have a fair amount of elm on my property, so I'm not worried about keeping it for that reason. But I also want to take down these 2 apple trees, and then we'll get into cedar. So this is the second in my series of cedar silviculture, managing my cedar stand, or as my management plan calls it, stand number 2. So we'll get into that, and we'll be doing some trimming as well as harvesting some of the smaller cedar that's overcrowded, and I'll show you what I'm cutting for fencing material. So looking at the elm, it obviously is going to fall to the right, which is good because I don't want it to fall into the cedar stand. Probably going to fall right on those that little pile of apple firewood. So there's a nice black cherry tree there I want to avoid. So I don't think it'll be a big deal. It's one of the bigger trees I've cut. Is probably 18 inches in diameter, I'd guess. But it should really open up some of these cedar trees here on the edge. to plan, I think. Fell down harmlessly, mostly in the field. Really did open up this end of the cedar stand. I will probably take almost all of those. A couple of aspen or popple, a black cherry, and red maple. This brush is good. In fact, the management plan talks about just deadening trees, cut them up and leave them on the forest floor. Cedar's seed production works best. They normally will germinate in decaying material, rotten stumps, things of that nature, as opposed to the bare ground that other trees' seeds will easily germinate in. There's a lot of nuances, peculiarities about cedar. So we'll talk about that as this series continues. But for now, this big elm, cut it up into 16-foot sections for firewood. And I'll end up pushing all the brush sort of at the base of these trees with the tractor when all is said and done. So the big elm is cut up into 16-foot lengths. I'm actually going to save this butt log because it looks so good. Granted, there's some big knots. But I think it'll make nice lumber. I'm going to have it sawn into 2-inch thick lumber for maybe tabletops, end tops, bar stools, things like that. But the rest of it's rather curvy, hard to find a straight piece otherwise. And I've cut a lot of the smaller trees, so it's all a lot cleaner as far as pure cedar stand goes than it was before. And there's lots of debris here, hopefully to act as a cedar nursery for the next generation. So I'll probably wrap it up here for today. I haven't actually cut any cedar, so we'll talk about the cedar I'm going to take out for post next time we're out here, which hopefully is in not too long a period of time. Well, it is a new day. I've done some more weeding, cutting down of undesirable trees since we were together last. Push some of the brush back in here, the wood. So now finally I'll look at some cedar that I can take out. The first one I will probably do is this one right here. It's right next to a larger tree. They are equally good. There's no splits up there, nice and straight. And then probably look at this one, which is next to that one. This is smaller. This one does have a V up there, and this one does not. So those are the first two candidates, and that'll take 5 trees, which are in a pretty small area, just down to 3, which I think is more reasonable. So I took down that first tree that was basically sharing a root system with that larger one. I meant to film me taking it down, but I didn't, but there'll be others. So this is the spec for cedar. It's pretty generous. Cedar is one of the few species you can use almost the entire tree, even small ones like this. So we can even sell something as small as 3 inches in diameter as long as it's 6 feet long. And there's the prices, either by each or by face cord. So we can measure this one here. I think at 10 feet it is about 4 inches. So if that's the case, then this little stick here is worth $5, but let's measure it out and see. So we need 4 inches of trim. So at 10'4", we are about 4.5 inches in diameter. So I will cut it there. There's really, try to make 2 6-footers perhaps, but we're not gonna be ahead doing that. So I'll just call it a 10-footer, 4 inches and up. Cut it right there. Oh, that cedar smells good when it's cut. So at 6 foot, the 4-inch trim, we have more than 3 inches. So we can do that. So we'll cut it there and make another $1.25. Woohoo! Getting rich now. So besides the branches, that's the only waste on that particular tree. So this is a tree I just cut. This one I think I did last year, perhaps, or a year or two earlier. So one of the nuances, peculiarities, I guess, weird things about cedar is they're relatively sensitive to being disturbed, particularly their roots. And I was told if I'm gonna minimize a multi-sprout root or a multi-stem root down to a single stem is to do it gradually over the course of a couple of years. So that's what I did, but this one is good now. And the greenery here in the springtime is a favorite of deer. It's not their favorite food because in the wintertime normally they don't eat it, so they either are not hungry or they have other sources of food. But this time of year, early April, maybe mid-March, if I cut cedar, almost all the greenery will be gone in a couple days with the deer coming around. Well, this is that other tree I was considering taking down. I'm actually having second thoughts. One, it has open area to the right, obviously. Both of them do. And it's only crowded on, say, 3 sides. This other one, I don't know how it was even growing. It's somehow stuck up there. Between those other ones, so it needed to come down, even though there's still a lot of crowning crowns or tops. There's a lot more open than it used to be. So, and this one here has more room. So the next one I'm looking at here is the one on the right here of these two. And the only reason they're basically equally sized, roughly the same height, but that one has a fork up there and that one does not. So I'm going to take this one down with a fork. Probably try to fell it this way. That doesn't look too good for the saw. I'm sure it'll be fine. The bar might be a little bent. And I need my PV to get the log off here. Maybe you can see it, the bar does have a little bit of a crook in it. I can probably bend it back. I'll put it in the vise and yank on it the other way. The crown is pretty well hung up. This is one of the bigger cedars that I deal with, because normally I can just lift them up and carry them out. But in this case, I'm gonna need my tractor. So I will bring it there on this side, hook up the cable and drag it down. So that is a nice straight tree, except for that that forked branch there that I cut off. So yeah, I don't know whether $5 each or $3.65 a face cord is worth more, but I think generally if I can get the length I will. So obviously I can here. .4. I'll do 10 footers until I get less than 4 inches, and then we can see if we can get post. Four is right there. See if we can get one more 10-footer. And the answer is no, that's going to not be big enough. So we'll go down to 6 foot. 6'4". My hatchet right there. This is slower doing this one-handed. So another 6 feet. I don't think we're gonna have 3 inches, but we might. Six feet. Yeah, inside the bark, I would say we do not have 3 inches. So that's all we're going to get from this tree. The last cut will be right here. So the rest of that little bit will be waste. So we got three pieces out of that. 2 at $5 and 1 6-foot. I think it's 4 inches. Yeah. So the 6-footer is just 4 inches. Doesn't make the 5, so I can't sell it for that, so it'll be another fence post for $1.25. So $11.25 is what that tree was worth. But more importantly, it opened up the stand for adjacent trees to grow bigger, better, taller, stronger in the years to come. So basically right here in the same area, there's these two. This one here I cut down last year, I think. These I cut down several years ago. You can see there's starting to rot, little moss growing on it. So this one's a bit bigger. This one's got a little crook in it, so I will take this one down, and we should get 1, maybe 2 sellable pieces from there. This one did have a larger knot, or a larger branch that I cut off, I think, last year. But other than that, it's a pretty straight and narrow tree. So this one only yielded 1 10-footer and 2 6s because we dropped down below 4 inches at the top. So 2 fence posts, $5 and $2.50. So $7.50 for this one. So I can take it out where the tractor is, but I have to climb over that wall. Or I can take it out there where I suspect I'll have a lot more, so I'll probably go out there. This is a handy rig, Fiskars. It works well for hauling these things out by hand and handling holes of that size. I missed the last time with the smaller piece. So here's a clump of 3. Took this one down last year. I'll take 1 more down this year. It'll be this one. See, it's not not quite as straight and true. It's got several big branches that really reduce the diameter of the stem above it. This one I can drop into the field and I'll drag the brush back in here. Okay, well, guess I forgot to hit the record button again. So that tree's down, fell into those red maples, and I pulled it back here. We'll see what I can get out of it. inches? It is. So a 10-footer and a 6-foot post. And that's over 4. These I will drag out this way. So I took down some spindly trees, tall, skinny ones, right there, right there. From one of them I got 3 fence posts, and the other I got 1. So there's 4 fence posts from those 2 trees. But what that did is that opened up this little bit of sky right there. So these much better trees have a bit more light to go by. So the next one will be this one here, again to open up the crown a little bit. So a 10-footer and a 6-foot post. So that's sort of what I'm going to go through and do here in this entire stand, which is probably only about an acre. Just take down trees regardless of size that are in the way of better trees, crowding other ones. Well, that's it for now. I'll bring you back when there's more exciting things to watch and talk about. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.